First of all, happy holidays, everyone, and I hope you had a Merry Christmas and had good fun with the family. The reason I wanted to get this interview underway is Alex kind of had people confused with his mathematics the other day. He posted a thing to his story saying, I believe it was 30 plus 300 equals 3. I'm curious how he got to that sum and what exactly it meant.
Oh man, I had a dream. I saw the number there, 3,300. Well, I saw 3, so I said, well, I'll put it there. I'll see if anyone can figure it out. And then, well, people are trying. Yeah, some say things that I hadn't even thought of, and sometimes it makes sense. So, but it was nothing. I dreamt about the numbers and put them there. So just like now, I'm like that. I dream about things. I played in the raffle. Once I won a motorcycle, 2 months went by. I played in the raffle again. I won 2 motorcycles, So I'm like that. Tell him I'm going to tell him something, which I haven't said it yet. I haven't said it in any interview. In the fight, right? In the fight, when Jon Jones was on the card, right? Well, I saw it, right? Well, I said, I don't know why. I didn't dream it, but I sensed it. I said, I don't know why, but Jon Jones will not. He's not going to do this fight, and well, I'm going to do the main fight. I said, well, I saw the poster. I didn't have one. Everything had already been announced. His picture was there. And I wasn't even on the poster. I said, fuck, the guys didn't put me on the poster like that. And then I said, I don't know why. I can't explain it. But my picture is still going to be here on this cover. How could I think like that? Well, the cover is ready. It's all announced. How? I didn't imagine what it would be like either. I didn't want to say it to anyone because people will say, well, you're wishing the guy didn't fight and all. Well, and it was due to an injury, but well, I didn't understand either. I just felt that way, and I told some people, right? And I'm not telling a story here. And well, me, Plinio knows about that. He knows me. If I'm lying, I want, my career to go down the drain. From now on that I don't know, that everything goes wrong. If it's going to go wrong, it's because it has to go wrong. It's not because I'm here saying I'm not lying.
Well, one interpretation of the numbers from a fan, I think himself, there's a gentleman called Tom Aspinall. He seemed to see it and he sort of thought, oh, I recognize Alex and these numbers seem to be calling to me. And he posted his own story of the two of them together saying Merry Christmas, looking like they're having a grand old time. But the main interpretation I've seen from the fans that Alex is wanting to hear is it would appear to me that Tom's 30, 300 is coming up, and that could be 3 world titles that Alex could fight for. What does he think of that interpretation, and does he like the sound of it?
Everyone has their own imagination, we see which one comes closest to these numbers, so we can figure it out. It's like this.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of numbers to discuss, I'm sure, but if the numbers are right, is that something that sounds exciting to Alex, being on such a magic, historical card, fighting for history against Tom? Is that a fight he would be interested in?
Man, I mean, everyone knows, right? Like I said about middleweight going up. I think today I'm a guy that, like, I'm big, I'm strong, but I'm still not that heavy, right? So I think it would have to be something like this, well planned, programmed, to do a job well done, right? To gain mass there, well, quality mass, right? Well, I'm in the fight, man. I fight. Well, I used to fight at middleweight. Well, I went to light heavyweight. If my body does well at heavyweight, why not? But man, I'm focused on this new category, right? I want to defend my belt, and I'm focused on it.
That makes sense. And last one on Tom, then I was curious. Let's say they do come, they need a main event for 300 and that sort of thing, right? Champion versus champion is the sort of thing that fits that card. Does he view Tom as the real heavyweight champion? Jon and Stipe are kind of out, and there's a lot of talk about when they're going to fight, and Tom's sort of there, the interim, but he might defend that. Does Alex view Tom as the real champion? He would fight for that 3rd title?
On that case, he's but you talk about in the possibility of him fighting against Tom Aspinall?
Yeah. If he fought Aspinall, does he consider him the real world champion? Yeah, it's still the same as it is now. I'm just curious because some people think, oh, Jon and Stipe, they will fight and then retire. So Tom's kind of the new champion, but he's not, you know what I mean?
No, it's like this. Jon Jones is the champion. The belt is with him. He suffered an injury, but the belt is still his. If he announces, does what other people have done, Prohaska, Jamal said, no, man, I don't want to hold it. I'll leave it there for the crowd. Well, he's fighting for the belt. So if he leaves it, right, it is his belt for sure. In the end, well, he'd be next, right? But he wouldn't be the champion because Jon Jones wouldn't pass it on to him. There'd have to be someone else to compete for the belt, but he'd be next. You know, he's the interim champion, but the champion is Jon Jones. Jon Jones left the belt. He's still interim champion. And he'll fight another athlete and see who the champion is.
We'll move on from this one onto another name that you've heard 1,000 times already. Obviously, last fight, you called out Israel Adesanya. You said you wanted to give him the opportunity that he gave you by lifting him up. He's kind of doesn't seem to be that interested. He's very much enjoying his knockout of the year win from earlier this year. Is that still a fight that Alex wants, or is he prepared to move on in the way that it appears Israel's quite content to move on?
No, I let it go. I let it go, man. I really just want to defend my belt. We've already had an initial conversation with the organization. So we're more or less there, right? Knowing what. I don't think I can say we're still in a conversation, but I'm still in conversation, but I'm very excited about it because it can and should happen.
Okay. It would seem if, you know, these crazy super fights don't happen, that Jamal Hill's the next guy, right? He's been pretty vocal that he feels he's still the champion, and he's a little bit pissed off, to be honest, that people are sort of moving on from him without him losing the belt. And there, does Alex understand his frustrations, or does he think that maybe Jamal needs to recognize as a new guy in town and he kind of needs to win his belt back to ever be considered a champion again?
Oh, man, it was like, I just talked about Jon Jones. He's the champion. He's got the belt, man. The fight did not happen, but he's still champion. Jamal was the champion. He got injured. So he should have kept his belt, fought with the organization. I don't know, but he didn't do that right away. He left, right? He left the belt. I don't know what the reason was, very quickly, right? Without knowing what the degree of I mean, maybe I'm talking nonsense, but okay, he did it, right? And so he has to accept that he gave up his belt, right? And now he's going to have to recover, right? Come back to show that he's the champion, and well, what goes around comes around. That's all.
Okay. Well, last one for me. I want to throw a couple of one last suggestion at you. Whoever the opponent is, I know there's going to be a show in Brazil this year, and it feels almost suitable that there should be a homecoming for a champion of 2 weight classes. Would Alex like to return to Brazil and defend that belt there?
Man, as I've always said, I don't choose places, right? Well, it's different for me. Well, I've traveled. I've been to China. I've been to lots of faraway places, right? I've fought. I've struggled. I've had good results, but I've also had a lot of difficulties. The United States would be much better for me, much better, because, well, that's where I live, you know, and for those who are fans, they'll understand. They won't criticize, right? I'm talking about New York. Well, it's next door to my house. So if you're really a fan, you cheer there. Well, they're never going to say anything. They're never going to leave a sentence on Instagram, right? Criticizing me. And of course, I also said that if I were to fight in Brazil, well, it would be a pleasure, right, to bring this joy, right, to these people, you know, who are MMA fans. Well, many who since the pandemic, right, they no longer have the opportunity, and others who have never been have the desire to go, well, if there's this event and you see me fighting, it'll be a pleasure for me too.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a happy new year. Tell Alex to keep dreaming of those numbers. It apparently appears to be working out for him. You know, I appreciate that manifestation. But thanks very much, guys.
Obrigado.